There's something missing from our Christianity. There's something wrong. Just cannot be denied. When we look at how we perform as a people, the challenges that we face, crime, drugs, broken marriages, single family households, just imprisoning. Of course, we have forces against us, white supremacy forces built into the culture, but there's no counterbalance. And I think that counterbalance has to be the way we worship and the way we are disseminating or interpreting what God really wants from us. It's not sufficient for us to say that there are bad people or that there are people who are against us. It's a fact. We live among human beings. That's the way humans are. We're very tribal, and what we find is that today it's very systematized. It's ingrained into governments, and it's wrong. But however, just because you've been invaded and treated badly and even enslaved, that doesn't mean you sit there and just cuss out the people who are doing wrong. No, you build yourself up. You create in yourself a new man. You create a new mind. You be renewed by the restoring of your mind, and that is what's missing. I mean, I'm a pastor, I'm a preacher, and I love all of us. We do great jobs. But I think what's happening is that we have built a parallel type of worship that follows along the cultural path. And the cultural path is not necessarily healthy for us in the way it is structured. So it's not sufficient for us to go and preach and come home and do all these things. We need a better dispensation. Here's what I mean. A brother from the Nation of Islam, and he came with checks, hundreds of thousands of dollars that he wanted to give to the cause that Geno Jennings was putting forth, his ministry. And he gave a direct check of, I think, $100,000 to Geno Jennings. And the Nation of Islam brother went on to talk about how black churches just don't have a program for nation buildings. He said it's not enough that we pray and worship, yet still our kids are being shot. Even our mothers are being thrown in jail. We have all these drugs in our communities and everything that's going on. He said only the Nation of Islam has a nation building plan. And Geno Jennings threw him out because he soiled the pulpit by coming in and just saying these insulting things. And as the brother of Nation of Islam was leaving, Geno Jennings says, "Here, and take your check, $100,000. He's more man than I have been." It would have been hard, but Geno was right, and I respect him because Geno said these words. He says, "Give him back his check. I'm not a whore. You can't buy me." Geno was right, and I respect him greatly for that. Brother from the Nation of Islam was even more right. I like what they do. They build up. The basis for it, I don't totally agree with it. But what I can take out of what they do is that they build up character. They turn men around. They are in prisons and they build them up. The way they how should I say, the pride and the instilling of the pride that is within people of Nation of Islam cannot be denied. And Malcolm X is a great example of that. How he was a scourge on the young community, a drug runner, number runner. But look at him now. And I say to us, we don't have to adhere to what they adhere to. I respect their walk. But what they do is that they speak directly to the broken soul and they give it pride. Pride in who they are in relationship to their faith. And that we don't do. And I think that is where we fail. And that will be our condemnation. I always say, Jesus himself said that in the end, we're not going to say, he doesn't want to hear that we cast out demons in his name, that we did miracles in his name. He's going to say, "Get thee hence, I've never known you." Because when I was naked, you didn't clothe me. When I was hungry, you didn't feed me. And we're not clothing, and we're not feeding. And by clothing and feeding, it's not just the physical. It's the spiritual food. It's the spiritual covering that we're not giving. We need to speak directly to our circumstance and what is really killing our souls. And what it is that we're teaching from the European church. God bless it. Nothing wrong with that. They need their connection, but we need ours too. And we need a connection that shows that we are just as good as anybody else, and we're not getting that in insufficient doses. But we have to do it. Because it's not enough for us to give people fish every day or every Sunday. We have to teach them how to fish. A great example of how when the spiritual aspect is removed from people, how they perform. Look at the Native Americans. Their spirituality was strong, and they had strong in their faith. I won't disrespect it. But once it was torn from them and from their land, they're in as bad or even as worse shape culturally. Men need symbols, they need beliefs that speak to who they are, that speaks to their circumstances. And without a vision, people perish. And that is what we have to do. And that is what I intend to dedicate my rest of my years towards this issue. We have to promulgate a better way out.